Hi, I'm Wyatt.
And I'm Grace.
And you're listening to our dad and your host of the Vacation Rental Revolution podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Lifestyle Asset University podcast. We're coming to you today with another member interview. These are getting really fun and exciting. We'd love to have new members and new experiences to share with you guys on our podcast, on our, some of you are watching this on YouTube or Facebook, but we're recording this episode for the podcast, and we've got one of our members, Jeff Weaver from Atlanta, Georgia, joining us. Jeff, say hi to everybody.
Well, hello, John. Thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to the conversation. But yeah, hello to the community out there. Hopefully interested in pursuing this vacation rental fun journey. So
absolutely, yeah, and that's what we'll talk a little bit about. First, what I'd really love to talk about is kind of get to know you, tell me a little bit about where you're from and kind of what you guys are doing and how you're hanging in there with all the craziness going on in the world, and
right.
We can get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. Quick bio. So I was born and raised Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. I did my undergraduate at the University of Missouri, MIZ, and then my wife and I, we were Quiznos franchisees for several years. Had a few stores throughout Missouri, and then we decided to move to Atlanta, Georgia. I had a brother here that had a consulting firm. I pursued my CPA here in Atlanta and then practiced in public accounting for a few years. I now work for a consumer analytics firm outside of Philadelphia, but spend most of my brain power, looking at real estate in my spare time. So we live on the in the East Lake neighborhood of Atlanta for about a decade.
Awesome. And you've owned, how long did you own the Quiznos?
We had them through, so we opened our first store in 2005 and we were out about 2012.
Okay. So, did any real estate background in the past? Any investing background in the past?
As far as investing, no. So my undergrad was actually in finance and real estate. Always been interested in the, in that world, other than the commercial side of it and working with leases and whatnot, that through the business ownership. But no, tons of interest, spent a lot of time in Atlanta, like many cities as of late, there's been a real estate boom, even hyper boom kind of in our side of town. So looked for a long time, for more of the traditional, buy and hold type of stuff, but no, the answer.
Okay. Nice. And so tell me a little bit about wife, kids, Jessica.
Yeah.
I was bummed that she's not joining us. I'm going to have to give her a little guilt trip. We want to see her on this as well.
Yeah, no doubt. She unfortunately had a meeting, but I know she would like to be here as well because she is, clearly so. We've kind of always been a team. When we had the restaurants together, I used to laugh because we'd get up in the morning, drive in the same car to work. We had our first Quiznos, so we were pretty young. We'd stand next to each other all day and work, and then we'd get in the same car, drive home, go to bed in the same bed, and do it all over again. And then
love it.
And we worked together at my brother's consulting firm for several years before I split out doing the CPA path. And that was like our first time to ever kind of part ways from working together. But now we're back into kind of the short-term game, back together as a team again. So
yeah, I know you guys do that. Definitely this is something that you do together, and I know you guys have a lot of fun with it. So.
And two kids. I have a 1-year-old little boy, Milo, and a 4-year-old little girl, Jade.
So they keep you busy. We're right at the start of school in a crazy school year. They, I guess they're a little too young for school. You don't have to worry about that too.
She starts kindergarten on Monday.
Oh, is she? Kindergarten. Okay. Yeah. All right. So is she going to go to school?
She's doing a pod.
Okay.
Pod. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's different everywhere. So I asked. My kids are homeschooled, so they were used to being homeschooled. So this is kind of no different for them. But I know across the country, everybody's got a little different protocols coming that are a little odd this year. So we'll see how it goes. So tell me what kind of led into I know you guys like to travel. What led into the vacation rental interest in vacation rentals, short-term vacation rentals?
Yeah, so we do like to travel. We, for years since we were young, we were, running off to Mexico any chance we could get. We are kind of beach people. As we had kids, that became harder to go out of country and whatnot. And like I said, also with always been interested in real estate. So what got us, interested in the short-term game was looking here in Atlanta for a long time, trying to find traditional buy and holds or fix and flips. And, finding them was, first of all, the competition in that world is crazy. So finding one that actually positively cash flowed was, almost like finding a needle in a haystack. Lots of times you're getting yourself into these situations to negatively cash flow or break even in a perfect situation almost. And then hope and pray for that appreciation, which, listen, that's a proven vehicle that's been around for a long time. It is a vehicle, but the competition that was there, it was tough. And so it literally started at the back of a napkin math. While we're on one of these trips, we always stay in Airbnbs or VRBOs when we go places, and you're sitting down there at the beach and you're thinking, wait, what did I just pay for 6 days here? And you hold on, and you can see what this house was sold for. Zillow's pretty good information these days, and you're like, hold on, I just paid 115% of this guy's mortgage payment, in 6 days. So literally just that. And it's like, is there something there? And then I do like to do research, read, and it's like it almost was sounded too good to be true. So it's like, let's start peeling this back a little bit and seeing if there was something there.
Yeah. Awesome. So that started the process. And then, so you said you like to read and do that research. Tell it, like, what are some of your favorite books? What are some of the hobbies that you're doing that keep you interested?
Yeah, I wish there was one. Of course, Bigger Pockets it's impossible to be in this world and not get directed somewhere to Bigger Pockets.
Yeah.
Right? They've done a good job, have a lot of good information out there. And then it's just spider webbing out on different blogs, I'm a data guy, so I want to get it all and then make my own decision after collecting all of it. So, I'm pretty sure I've watched every video on YouTube that there has ever been put out at some point, and with all the good and the bad that comes with that. But I love to take in the information and try to, jumble it all in and come out with some kind of opinion on my own.
Nice. So how'd you find us? What is that kind of what led you to an introduction to what we did, and we ended up getting on the phone around the first of the year, right?
It was into last year. Yeah.
Into last year. Okay. Yeah.
It was our initial call. And yeah, so, obviously the internet's smart. They see that I'm on all these blogs. And,
we know how to find you, right?
Yeah. And do this. So, targeting was spot on. And I saw you on Facebook is what it was. And you weren't unique in that I clicked on you. I click on a lot of those things, and but the message was unique. So I think that's what separated out, Lifestyle Asset University as opposed to some of the other, junk. Not all, but I'm sure there's other great programs not out there. There's your specific message, the real plan, the path, the process to follow, and that it's this isn't, some kind of guru get rich quick type of thing. This is a real process and a real opportunity. And that's what got me to get on the phone with you initially.
Awesome. And as you started kind of peeling back the layers of the onion, you probably a lot of people that are in that phase right now, maybe just thinking about it and listening to you. There's a few moving parts that you probably didn't realize when you're just scribbling on the back of a napkin and figuring out if you can pay all the bills, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's a fun game, right? It keeps us interested. We love it because it's, I always tell people it's not the end all be all of real estate by any stretch. It's not the magic pill. It's a vehicle that we feel like checks a lot of boxes of the things that we like and that we enjoy and keeps us interested. But there are a lot of moving parts and there are a lot of things. You mentioned being a systems and process oriented guy, and I can't wait for people to kind of hear your story and your journey buying that first property. But it wasn't by accident that you ended up having the success you've had in a short period of time with this type of an asset.
Yeah. So, I think one thing you hit on there that I want to reiterate is the whole, being into it, and it is something that's fun and interesting. There's other vehicles. There is, people listening to this probably are into real estate in general, and you're hearing the wholesale game, and you probably know some about, apartment buildings or commercial and this and that. And those can be great vehicles. This one it's just fun. That's all there is to it. And that's what attracted me to it. And, we're beach people. Like that's what we are. We like those kind of trips, and, digging into different homes and different beach neighborhoods and stuff. I mean, it's just fun, let alone that there could be a real business behind it. So that's what really, got it to really stick with me.
Awesome. And I remember talking to you and Jessica on the phone for, a couple conversations, thinking about getting into this. And it's really fun for me to have those conversations. Why I love doing these podcasts as well, and sharing this with other people who are just kind of thinking about the game, right? And kind of thinking about, is this a vehicle we want to go down? We're not, you guys weren't professional real estate investors. You didn't own a big portfolio, and yet you were, you're successful. You've done what you needed to do to put yourself in a position to purchase something and to invest in something. Yet you didn't want to just go out and on a whim and say, hey, I love the beach. I'm buying a beach house. I'm throwing it up on Airbnb, right? That's a lot of people's business plan. And there's more to it than that, though. So let's talk a little bit about that process. What did that mean for you guys? What did it look like when, after some of those initial conversations with us of saying, hey, let's lay out a plan. Let's put something, let's have something that we can follow, because you guys, out of so many people that we work with and so many people that we talk to, really took what we laid out to the sentence. And I can't, there's no, like I've heard you say, hey, we kind of lucked out and found a great property. There was no luck involved, right? I like to talk to people about that process, and it wasn't lucky. And, and so let's talk a little bit about what that looked like in the beginning.
Yeah. So really in the beginning, so by the time, you and I started working together, I had already looked at quite a few properties. I'd been, dancing around different parts of the country. And, one thing I like that you were really big on was, hold on, where do you want to go? Where do you like to go? Where do you know? And I said, I just want the best opportunity. And I'm sure you hear that a lot.
Yeah.
So one of the first things was just like, pause, where do you want to go? Let's see there. Cause and what I've learned now being in this, there's opportunities on, I'm not saying 100% of the places, but most places, so start where you like to go. And so we said, okay, challenge accepted. Let's start digging around. We love to go down to the Panhandle. We go there every year with the kids. It's an easy drive from Atlanta. So let's start looking there. So I start looking. I love the process of finding the properties, how we analyze the properties. I can do that. I get really, I'm comfortable with numbers, but what I really needed in that beginning part was, hey, Sean, what do you think of this? Am I right here? Am I wrong here? And a lot of it too was just that, arm around my shoulder that says, you're right, Jeff. That was the right move, or no, but just that I needed that extra confidence of somebody who'd been in the game and to really help on that front end of the, analyzing the property.
Yeah. And I remember that, the property that you ended up buying, ultimately, it was, you're down in Destin, Florida. That's not exactly a slow market down there. People are down there, and there's a lot of action, lots of investors, lots of people buying. And how long was that property on the market for?
Yep, that property, and I want to take that back to when I would look here in Atlanta for traditional buy and holds. If it was a good deal, you're off the market in 2 days. That's a long time. The property that I found in Destin had been on the MLS for 5 months.
Yeah, 5 months. And Destin was the same type of market. If it was on the market for a week, there was something probably wrong with it, right? And that's where you found this property. And I love this story, and I share this story all the time, is those same skill sets that you're learning to mitigate the risk along the way, that same process that you're following, that you were learning about and taking, educating yourself and bridging that knowledge gap and using those same skill sets helped you recognize that opportunity that everybody else ignored. You mentioned earlier that you were kind of thinking about getting in the fix and flip game, and it's uber competitive. It's really, really difficult to find a property that's profitable. And the reason is because everybody knows what a profitable deal looks like. In this game, you can find deals that people don't recognize, right? This property, they look at service level stuff. This property was listed at that 750 mark, I think, somewhere in that range. And
it was listed for actually over that. It was 810.
810. Yeah. Okay. So 810 was the list price, and it generated like 60,000 in gross revenue.
At its best year. I think the year before it done like 43. Its best
Right.
year, 62.
So it was on the market. It was what, a 5 or 8 year rental history. So it was an established vacation rental in a great market. And so, I mean, you can understand why people looked at that and said, I'll pass on it, right?
It's totally done.
Yeah, it's not, there's no cash flow there. But, to your guys' credit, like I said before, this had nothing to do with luck. You guys really took the time to understand the profit drivers in the area, the opportunity with the property. And you're able to realize that it was getting completely mismanaged. There was a lot of meat left on the bone, and there were a lot of different things that could happen with this property to really bring it into its, into its full potential. And other people didn't recognize that. And you guys ended up, I think it was around that 750 acquisition mark, right?
Yeah, 750. Yeah.
Right. So you got 750. You put about $50,000 into it. Needed a bit of a facelift. You guys did an amazing job of getting it ready. But that's not the only thing that a lot of people could do a facelift on a property. And kind of take us through that process, because that was something you've never done, right? Never done a fix and flip. And I remember talking, well, back up first, we had a lot of conversations of, hey, Sean, is this, I'm missing something, right? This looks good. This looks, this property looks like it checks all the boxes. It looks like there's an opportunity. And we were able to look at it with you. We talked to, the other professionals in the area, the local professionals that you had, and we looked at it and said, yeah, this looks good. This looks like the property that makes sense. I don't think you're missing anything. I think everybody else missed something, because they looked at it from this level, and you had to peel back some of those layers. And so you had, first of all, you had the guts to really move forward on something that everybody else ignored. And that takes a lot. When everybody else ignores it, we have a tendency to start second guessing ourselves, like, and I can't mess up. This is my first one. And, this isn't something that I want to mess up on. And if everybody else doesn't want it, then maybe I should pass on. We had some of those conversations, right?
Oh, without a doubt. Why have I found these people that are in this game? Like, why am I the guy on my first property that sees this up? There's got to be something I'm missing. And then let's add one more thing to that, John, is this was right at the beginning of COVID, so there was, we used the tools, the air DNAs, we used the professionals on the ground. We came up with a real plan of what we thought this property could do. And I think the day after I closed is when beaches went completely closed. But before closing, it was the day before, my last day of diligence, I was talking to you, because this stuff's starting to close. The world's in chaos. We have no idea what's going on. And I said, listen, man, I don't, what would you do? What do I do here? Do I back out of this? And you said, I remember the conversation like it was yesterday. You said, if this was a marginal and you hadn't put in so much work and really figured this thing out, I would be honest and tell you might want to hold off. This stuff is too chaotic. You said this one underwrites better than most I've seen. And as long as we have that plan in where, hey, there's going to be some, that 6 or 8 month, window of, being able to handle some ups and downs, I think long term, this thing is still a great deal. And we went through with it, and it was absolutely right.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so there's a lot going on between the ears, right? Like, hey, let's this is a little stressful. We've never seen anything like this happen. You bid off on this big life move, really, your first real estate investment, but you put the time in, you built the foundation that you needed to build. And that's where I say people look, we tell your story, and when by the end of this, people will hear kind of the end game, but I want them to hear the in between game, because you and Jessica have, you pat yourself on the back for really sticking through that grind and understanding, okay, we're going to stick to the plan, and we've built a foundation because this is a long-term deal. And so you close on the property, and the next kind of fun part starts. You guys are doing a bit of a facelift. It's in the middle of COVID. You guys ended up going down there for like 2 months, right?
Yeah, about 2.5 months. We just lived in the property in the middle of all the stuff.
And the a fix and flip type of a scenario, right, where you're going in and you're doing the facelift and all the work that needs to be done. That's real easy, right? That just goes just as planned.
Oh yeah, but the exact budget goes right there.
Yeah.
There's
Budget, exactly.
Everyone shows up when they're supposed to.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how that went.
And we learned so much, and it was some of it we had to laugh. The place, first of all, we learned, don't be very cautious of putting any value in any property and the contents of some of these, and they're sold as is, because we ended up scrapping literally. We didn't move walls in the house, but we literally took every single thing else out of it. It was it turned out to be junk, which it just adds to the story of what was wrong with this property. We sat down to eat our first dinner at the place, and the table fell over on us, and we all fell out of our chairs because they're all broken. So we just had, it was a mess, but it was a fun process. And we started room by room and just going with it. So
yeah, it was and I remember having a couple of those conversations as well, saying, man, Sean, we haven't done a fixer upper before, but this isn't what I see on TV all the time.
Yeah, right.
It feels like there's more issues, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of little issues that feel overwhelming, but you fast forward 2 months, and was it worth it to do that?
Yeah. It's, arguably, well, definitely professionally, it's been the most rewarding experience that I've ever been a part of. Seeing the whole thing come to fruition, to where, hey, I think there's something here. Let's peel back the onion and let's find it. Coming to that conclusion, because at some level we weren't tested. Like, you and I could have been wrong. And then seeing us put the effort in, putting our not only blood, sweat, but financial resources, and saying, hey, does this process work? And then really you go to the market, and the market tells you if it did. And so we got everything going, and we literally hit go live. And in 2 days, we booked more revenue than they had the entire previous year. And that was in the first half a month that it was in business. We went completely, it was a out of the gates success. And so just that like, rarely in life do you just get that immediate gratification like that it was like,
wow. It worked. The instant, like, hey, listen, you pretty much collected in that first 4 days enough revenue to pay for the entire rehab, right? Very, very close.
Oh, yes. In the first month and a half, we recouped all of that.
Yeah. And so you've got that, like you said, in 2 days, you generated more revenue than they had the previous year. And so now everybody looks at it and says, I want 10 properties like Jeff and Jessica's, which so do we, it's what we want, right? We all want that, but it didn't just happen because you went down there and bought a property and put it up on Airbnb. There was a process you followed. There was decisions that had to be made that, frankly, Jeff, a lot of people wouldn't make. And a lot of people would say, hey, I'm going to take the safe road and I'm going to step back and I'm not going to do this right now. We give ourselves a lot of excuses not to do things. And you guys should be congratulated because you actually did something. And
thanks.
And it's just awesome to be, a small part of that. I love that we could, have those conversations and help you with, at least our experience of saying, here, this looks good. This is what we would do. This is what, the process we would follow. And, but that's as much input as we have. Ultimately, you and Jessica have to make that decision, and you made the decision. And so now you've got a property that, you even had the opportunity and still could have the opportunity to sell that property, right? You could make, you've got conservatively a couple $100,000 in equity right off the bat that, in fact, I think you told me the management company had somebody that said, hey, I've got a $1 million buyer for this property. You're ultimately into it around 800. And, and that's, we had those conversations of saying, why would you sell it? You've got revenue close to that every single year, and you've put in the hard part. You found the property, you made those tough decisions, you did what you were supposed to do. And now you've got an asset that year one is conservatively going to make $150,000, of revenue out of the gates. Right.
That all those things are true, and it's almost sometimes have to pinch myself when I'm seeing it happening, but it's real and it's happening.
That's awesome. So what are some of the things that you maybe wish you would have done different? We've talked about a little bit of the process. What are some of the things you learned that you could share with other people listening, saying, hey, here's some things that I wish I would have maybe known or maybe done a little bit different?
Yeah, well, I think some of it really is it's easy in hindsight to say a lot of things, right? Is probably to trust myself a little more, to go with some of the stuff I talked with you about. I was fighting the system most of the time down there. This movement, you got to think, short-term rentals are a relatively new thing, but you go into some of these markets like a Destin, Florida, that's, they've been doing short-term rentals there before it was cool. I mean, that economy has been living on that. And there was a lot of people down there telling me I was doing some foolish things because it is, screw the guests. They're just guests. They're, don't make things nice. And I feel like that's one of the best opportunities we have in this game now, in the methods that, you teach through Lifestyle Asset University is, it's a new game now. People expect more. People want more. What kind of places do you want to go and stay? And lessons I learned is stick to that and listen to it and really treat these places like places you'd be happy to take your mom and dad, because a lot of people still aren't doing it.
Awesome. I love that you brought that up, because I remember having those conversations, right? When you were in the middle of that, the rehab process and really setting up the property and to deliver the fairy tale, we call it, and really provide that unique guest experience and taking it to the next level. And everybody, the boots on the ground partners that you're working with are saying, dude, you don't do that. I mean, you're wasting your money here. You don't spend the extra time and effort. And it was funny because we were like, we had those conversations and you're like, hey, what do you think? This is what I'm hearing here. And we'd say, my opinion is always to take it to the next level. That's why we do this. It's our way to stand out. It's our way, to deliver that unique experience. There's a lot of people down there that have nice properties, right? And if you can take it to another level and really, without breaking the bank, it's not like it's not going to get a return on that investment. But you found when you were done, it was funny to see them change their tune a little bit, right? The property manager, that's telling you the whole time, don't do it. And then he's like, man, this is awesome.
This is great. Yeah. And even turning around, like doing some of the stuff to his properties now, seeing the numbers that come in. It's like,
right. Yeah. And you're getting rewarded for it. Yeah. You're the market leader now. Everybody's like, I want to be like Jeff and Jessica. I love it. It's awesome. So, tell everybody how they can go. I'd love you to share how they can go look at your property, because it is an amazing property. Some people maybe, if they're visiting that area, we'd love them to go stay at it. But
so the property name is Dreamweaver in Destin, and the URL is dreamweaverdestin.com.
Awesome. So we'll put that in the show notes too. So www.dreamweaverdestin.com. Yep. Awesome. Yeah, that's it's really a fun property. You guys did an amazing job with it, but it'll be fun for everybody to go look at, because it's set up really nicely, and you might not be able to get in because it's pretty booked out, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe next year. No, we got some time coming up here in the fall, and I think the fall will be a great time in Destin. So
yeah. Awesome. So some of the mistakes, any aha moments, or any point where you said, "Man, this is going to be for us. This is going to work."
I mean, I feel like aha moments happened, sometimes almost more in hindsight, or like that, like some of the stuff I just shared. But the whole process has been life changing. It really has for me in a couple different ways. Not only has it opened up a new avenue financially for something to do. I have a property that's cash flowing. I'll be able to creatively finance that and do this over again, because I do think it's a repeatable process. But just the happiness level, Sean, this is a blast. It has been an absolute blast doing it. So whenever you can combine something that's been this much fun, plus you can make some money at it, I don't know what else you can ask for. And so my aha moment is this is a space that I'm going to be in some form or fashion for the foreseeable future, because I love it.
Awesome. We love it. And kind of leading into that, we had a couple conversations not too long ago about asking you if you'd be willing to kind of talk to some of the people that are interested in the space and answer some of their questions as kind of part of Lifestyle Asset University. And we've kind of gone down that road a little bit, haven't we?
We have. In that, I think that, a lot like some of this stuff that's happened, it happens so naturally. You and I have similar philosophies. We hit it off well from the beginning. And I really feel like a deep sense of, personal responsibility to kind of to share this message, because it has had such a positive impact in my life that it made total sense. And I'm very, very proud to be a part of it and to tell my story and to bring people in and do the same.
Awesome. We love it. And I'm so glad you said, you kind of almost feel a responsibility. It's really, I feel like that there is, when somebody does feel that urge or that calling to pursue something new in their lives, it is nice to be able to just talk to somebody. And we always try to make available spots on our calendar. And now you're doing the same thing, making spots available on your calendar just to have some initial conversations with people. So if you are listening to this podcast, you will have the opportunity to go to lifestyleassetuniversity.com, watch the training. At the end of the training, you have an opportunity to jump on the phone with us, jump on and ask some questions. And Jeff's made available some slots on his calendar. And if there's bookings available and you feel inclined to, kind of get some more questions answered and pursue this in your own life, I can't think of anybody better to talk to. I'd rather talk to Jeff than talk to me, because Jeff was in your shoes 8 months ago, right, Jeff? You guys were, it wasn't that long ago that you guys were just starting this process, and now you have an asset that's going to generate year one over $150,000 in revenue, and really beyond that, it should be closer to that $200,000 mark. A couple of years into this game, as you start to get your repeat customers and all of that stuff that we work on.
Absolutely, and I think the thing that you said that's really true is I was in your shoes. I mean, this isn't, I don't have some real estate portfolio, or do I have some, crazy amount of money that is inherited or something to do this. I was an average guy, and I'm an accountant, I'm a CPA, so I'm conservative at some level too. So this isn't the 15th thing I've just jumped into and thrown money at. I really, really looked into this, and if you're in that boat, I'd love to see your situation and see if it makes sense. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But if it does, man, it can be a lot of fun.
Awesome, man. Well, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being able to do that and you offering that to other people to be able to chat with you. It's just it's a fun part of what we do. Like you said, this is just a blast, and part of that fun is just meeting new people and sharing it. And Tony Robbins, and I always share this all the time, that story that he always tells about success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. One of the biggest things that I get fulfillment from is hearing like yours and Jessica's story and other members' stories, just saying that, having a small part of that, right? It's not like we did it for you. You guys followed a process, and now you have a skill set that you can just go do and over and over and over. And but to have a small part of that is just so rewarding for us. And now you're kind of putting yourself in that same position to help somebody else get to that point. And so it's awesome. Any, as we kind of wrap this up, any questions or any final thoughts that you have that you want to share with anybody else out there?
I guess I would question back to you. I think this world, hey, look, economics are economics, right? I'm not the smartest guy in town. So if this, works for me, like where is this going? Where do you see the next 5 years in the short-term rental market?
Yeah, I think we're still on the beginning stages of the growth of short-term rentals. I think COVID has almost even hit that reset button of, okay, here now it's becoming even more of a preferred method of travel and more of a preferred way to travel. A lot of municipalities now are putting their rules and regulations in place, and there's going to be, so there's processes and things we have to follow. There's areas we're allowed to do it in, not allowed to do it in, but and it's kind of that time of the professional host. It's the time where you can really, really take advantage of treating this as a business, and enough tools are in place and enough people are using this as a preferred method of travel. And especially now, we've seen domestically, we've seen it just skyrocket this year. Obviously, there are some areas that have struggled. They'll come back, the island communities, some of those areas that restrict travel. But people enjoy this type of accommodation, and where you're seeing how much you're getting rewarded for, taking it up a notch, if you will, to deliver that unique experience. That I think that the opportunity for us as investors and as owners of lifestyle assets, I think the next 5 years is going to be just an amazing run and really, really fun. It doesn't mean we're just going to go buy anything and put it on, the marketplaces and we're going to make money by any stretch. But I think that's one of the biggest opportunities as well, because a lot of people won't take this and treat this as a business. And those people who do, I think that the tools and the processes that people are putting into place now and building the foundation the correct way now is going to take them into the next 5 years at a trajectory that I don't know that we're going to be able to duplicate. I think that it's just almost the perfect storm to be able to take advantage of it. And so, we're really excited about the future. And, I don't hesitate for a second. Most markets across the country right now are at all-time highs, acquisition-wise. And we're not for 1 second are we waiting and thinking that the market needs to come down for us to get in the game and make this happen. And so that should probably tell you a little bit about what we believe as far as the trajectory of it, because I'm okay to pay market value or all-time highs in markets, because I know what we're able to do with them. And I know that how we treat these as a business and how we maximize them on the back end, and a lot of different moving parts when it comes to that. We don't have time to get into all that right now, but you understand that we've got a process we follow, and I think it's going to set us up really, really well for the next 5 years.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. And I love that part of the group. I think I have at least 2 members. One just is closing on a house within a baseball's throw from my house, based on this. So it's not a competition thing.
It's not. No.
Cut them out.
And that's the fun part about it. It used to be, right? You're like, everybody heard your success, and I think half of our group is buying in Destin now. But it's our collective portfolio in Destin is growing significantly. But everybody's having fun. Everybody's having success. There's so few people that treat it the way that we do, that it's you really can go down and have fun in any market. And so, awesome, man. Well, Jeff, I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you joining us, all that you're doing, all that you've done, and sharing your story and really helping other people and inspiring other people to consider this for themselves. And a lot of times some people just need that nudge to say, man, that story is what put me over the edge. And I appreciate you sharing that, because I've seen it, and I know, we've had multiple people join us that I've said, hey, go talk to Jeff. And just hearing your story has put them on a trajectory of success and things that they're doing. That's awesome, and I appreciate it.
Absolutely. if I can do it, I'm telling you, I know that's people say all the time, but I'm telling you, if I can do it, it's a repeatable process. You can do it too.
I've been saying that for years. If I can do this, I guarantee anybody can. So we have a lot of fun though, don't we? We just try to keep it real and have fun and have the processes treated as a business, but we don't take ourselves too serious. And I think that's a big part of it as well.
Without a doubt.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, if you're listening, go check out Jeff and Jessica's property at dreamweaverdestin.com. And if you're interested in hearing more about what we're doing at Lifestyle Asset University, you're interested in possibly pursuing this and looking for a system and a process to follow, go to lifestyleassetuniversity.com, watch the trainings. And if you feel compelled to do so and you feel like it's something that you want a little bit more information on, you'll have the opportunity to speak with myself or Jeff and go on there, book a call. And if there's calls available, I would encourage people to do so and jump on a call and get some of those questions answered. That's all we're really there for. That's the main agenda for those calls. So again, Jeff, thank you so much. Tell Jessica we missed her. And we'll see you inside the group, and everybody else listening to this. Hopefully we'll hear you or subscribe, get on the next episode, wherever you're watching this or listening to it at. We'll be coming at you with some more member interviews, and we'll have a fun time sharing this journey with everybody. So thanks again, Jeff. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, John.
All right. Cheers. Peace.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Vacation Rental Revolution podcast. Share this with other people you think need to hear about it. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Hey Grace, is there a website?
Yes! For more amazing content and expert advice, visit Vodacy.com.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.